am D. Janardhan Reddy. In this video, I am going to show you the ray diagrams for concave lens. In the previous video, I showed you the ray diagrams for convex lens, and in this video, I am going to show you the ray diagrams for concave lens. And in concave lens, there are two possible cases. That means at two different positions, we can place the object and we trace the rays in order to locate their image. Okay, see here, there are two possible cases in the concave lens. And in drawing the ray diagrams, I am going to use the following rays. The following two rays are used to draw all the ray diagrams for concave lens. That is, in both cases, to draw the ray diagrams for concave lens, I am going to use the following two rays. Whichever the two rays you can use, but here I am using only these two rays. See here, here is the ray 1. A ray traveling parallel to the principal axis, after refraction, it appears to come from the focus on the same side of the lens. This is the first ray I am going to use. Okay, and ray 2. A ray passing through the optic center is undeviated. So these are the two rays that I am going to use in order to draw the ray diagrams for concave lens. Okay, and in order to remember the order of the properties of the image formed, here I am using a mnemonic called LOST, L-O-S-T, LOST. In that order, it is easy for us and convenient for us to remember the properties of the image formed. So in this LOST, L-O-S-T, L means location. See here, mnemonic to remember the properties is LOST. LOST means the first letter L indicates location, O refers orientation, S refers size, T refers type. Location means where the image is formed, isn't it? Next, orientation means is the image formed inverted or erect. Size means is the image formed magnified one or diminished one, that is the size of the image. And type means whether the image is the virtual image or the real image. Okay, so this is the mnemonic I am going to use to remember the properties order in all the cases, that is in both cases, because in this concave lens we have only two possible cases. Okay, see here, and here is the case 1. In the first case, I am going to place the object at infinity. So case 1 is object is at infinity to the left of the lens, and this is a concave lens. Okay, and here is a point in the middle, and this point is called as the optic center P, and the line, the horizontal line passing through the optic center, we know this one is the principal axis, and C1, C2 are centers of curvatures, F1 and here F2 are the focal points or foci. Suppose the lens is shown towards a distant object, far away object like trees, vehicles on the road. Okay, at that time the rays coming from an object at infinity will become parallel when they approach to the lens. Okay, so these are the parallel rays which are coming from the object at infinity and falling on the concave lens at different points like this. Okay, so all these are the parallel rays, and in turn they are parallel to principal axis also. We know this, we know that this lens is a diverging lens. Concave lens is a diverging lens. So all the refracted rays appear to be coming from a point on the principal axis. Okay, here. So this ray gets refracted like this, and the second ray gets refracted like this, and third ray is traveling, passing along the principal axis. That's why it will not get deviated, it is undeviated, and this ray will get refracted like this. Let us see, these are the refracted rays. Okay, and if you observe all these refracted rays carefully, they are the diverging rays. They are not converging rays, they are diverging rays. If you extend them forward even up to infinity, they never cross one another, they never intersect. So for an observer at this position, he feels that this ray appears to be coming from the focal point here. So all, if you extend all these refracted rays backwards, all the refracted rays would meet here, F1. See here, I am extending all the refracted rays backwards, and all these extensions are crossing one another at point F1. That means all these refracted rays appear to be coming from the focal point on the same side of the object here at F1. Hence, here a small image will be formed at F1. Okay, because I have showed this lens towards a distant tree, and its image has been formed at the focal point F1 here. Okay, so all these rays, that is refracted rays, appear to be coming from the focal point on the same side of the lens. So on the same side of the incident rays. So image will be formed on the same side of the object. Object is to the left of the lens. Image also has been formed to the left of the lens here. Okay. Now let us write the properties of the image formed in this case. This one is the image. While writing the properties of the image, I use the mnemonic order LOST, lost. First I will write the location, second orientation, third size, T type. Properties of the image formed here is location. Where the image has been formed in this case, image has been formed at the focal point on the same side of the object here. Object is to the left of the lens, and image is also to the left of the lens, and erect, you can see here, erect, it is not inverted image, it is the erect image. Highly diminished, that is the size of the image is too small to compare with the size of the object. And virtual image, this one is the virtual image. Why? Because the refracted rays do not cross themselves if you extend them forward. When they are extended backwards, then only they are crossing one another at focal point. So the extensions do cross at F1. That's why the image formed is called virtual image only. In this case, a virtual image is only formed. Okay, so virtual image, If you hold a screen, a white paper here, you cannot get that image on the screen. So all virtual images are upright and they cannot be caught on the screen. Okay, so this is the first case. When the object is placed at infinity, its image will be formed on the same side of the object at the focal point, and these are the properties of the image formed in this case. Okay, and this one is the second case. Case 2, object is at a finite distance to the left of the lens on the principal axis. That means at a finite distance, that means beyond the focal point, beyond the center of curvature, in between focal point and the optic center, wherever you place, image will be formed on the same side between focal point and the optic center in case 2. Okay, so let us see here. Here is the case 2 at a finite distance, that is at the distance which is measurable. I am going to place the object on the principal axis. So you know this one is the concave lens, and here is the optic center P. P is its optic center, and the horizontal line passing through the optic center, we know this one is the principal axis, and C1, F1, F2, C2. So here C1 and C2 are the centers of curvatures, and F1 and F2 are the focal points. Now let us place an object. Here I am placing at finite distance. See here, you can place object anywhere beyond C1, at C1, between C1 and F1, at F1, between F1 and P, wherever you want you can place at a finite distance. Okay, so the same ray diagram is applicable in all the cases. So that's why in this concave lens I am going to show you only two possible cases. One is when the object is at infinity, and the other one is when the object is placed at finite distance. Okay, see here. Now I am going to use two rays. Here is OB is called as the object. Now from the point B, I am going to trace two rays. I am going to draw two rays. Ray 1, okay, a ray which travels parallel to the principal axis, falls on the concave lens, and gets refracted in such a way that it appears to be coming from the focal point here. See here, this is the first ray I am drawing, ray 1, which is traveling parallel to the principal axis and has fallen here, and this ray will get refracted in such a way that if you extend it backwards, it meets the focal point F1 here. So this is the refracted ray. You should not draw the refracted ray in whichever the direction you want. You have to draw the refracted ray in such a way that if you extend it backwards, it should meet the focal point here. Later I will extend. Okay, so this is the ray 1 incident ray, and here is the first refracted ray, and ray 2 which travels through the optic center will not get deviated. So this is the second ray, or ray 2, which is passing through the optic center. Okay, and this ray is undeviated, without deviation it passes like this. Now observe very carefully, these two rays are the refracted rays. Do they appear divergent rays or convergent rays? They are divergent rays. That means if you extend them forward, their separation keep on increases. That means they never cross one another even if you extend them up to infinity. So these two rays appear to be coming from a point. So let us extend this ray backwards. I have already told you the first refracted ray appears to be coming from the focal point here. So if you extend this ray backwards, it meets the focal point here. That means for an observer here, this ray appears to be coming from F1. Let us extend the second refracted ray backwards. See here, I am extending. Okay, so these two refracted rays, their extensions are crossing one another here. So this point is the image of point B. So the image of point B is here. So draw a perpendicular here. On this perpendicular line only the image of the candle will be formed. And here you cannot see this image. Okay, this image appears to only an observer. So when observer comes and intercept these refracted rays, he sees the image of this object. See here, here image has been formed. So the image of the object OB is formed between P and F. This image can be seen only by the observer here. We cannot see this image. Okay, so here I have placed the object and image has been formed here, and IG is the image where the image has been formed in this case. That is what is the location of the image formed here? Between the focal point and the optic center. Here is the rule. Wherever you want, you can place the object on the principal axis at finite distance. You can place the object beyond C1 here, at C1, between C1 and F1, even at F1, between F1 and P also. Its image always be formed between P and F only. The only variation you can observe is that the size of the image may increase. If you move the object slowly towards the lens and the image, isn't it? The image also moves towards the lens and its size gradually increases. That variation only you can observe. So let us write the properties of the image formed in this case. Properties of the image formed between P and F on the same side of the object, erect, that is it is not the inverted one, and diminished. Let us compare the sizes of the object and the image. The size of the image is smaller than the size of the object, and this one is the virtual image, because this image has been formed due to the extensions of the two rays crossing. That is due to the crossings of the extended rays backwards. That's why the image formed is a virtual image only, and this virtual image cannot be caught on the screen. It can be seen by this observer only. Okay, so remember, concave lens always forms a virtual image, that is a diminished virtual image between P and F. Irrespective of the position of the object you placed in front of it, the image will be formed always between P and F only. Okay, on the same side of the object. So here OB is called the object and IG is the image. Okay, so observer sees only the image, this image. So this is all about the ray diagrams related to concave lens. You try to place the object somewhere here and trace the same rays. You will find the image between P and F only. Okay, you try your own. Thank you.